and not to the victims. So I wanted to go talk to one of these victims, and she was gracious enough to let me interview her. We're not going to be able to get to the full interview in this segment. We'll have to go to break and come back and knock it out. But here's my interview earlier today from Grady, Arkansas. We're joined now by Genie Boren. She is the widow of Cecile Boren. And the reason she's agreed to talk to us today is, of course, the execution of Kenneth Williams, who's convicted of the murder of Cecile Boren, is this Thursday, April the 27th. And so, Jeannie, first of all, thank you so much for sitting down with us and talking to us.
You're quite welcome.
Talk a little bit about what the last, basically, 20 years have been like with, Kenneth Williams, sitting on death row.
Well, of course, we've had at least one prior date set for his execution. It may have been more than that, but I know of one because it was January 4th of 2015, I believe. But we didn't get as far as the clemency hearings even at that time. We're just kind of like we know he's down there. Anytime we go south on Highway 65 or come back up the highway, I look over that way and know he's still sitting there, and hope he doesn't have the ability to escape again.
And that's the prison I kind of overshot when I was trying to come out here.
Right.
And it was not too far from where I was, correct?
It's the first group of buildings. That's Varner, and that's where Supermax is, where he is right now.
So in 1999, right?
October 3rd.
He was already serving
life in prison without parole for the killing of Dominique Hurd, a little cheerleader from UAPB.
And he escapes, and
18 days later.
Okay, and this is the place that he comes, and your husband, he murders your husband.
Right.
Was he, when he was sentenced for the murder, he was sentenced to death, and he wasn't sentenced to 18 years on death row?
No, he wasn't not, and that's why if he had been sentenced to life in prison without parole, our family would have accepted that. We'd had to. But he had a jury of his peers give him the death penalty. And people can't do things without there being repercussions or penalties or something of that nature. And he needs to serve, or this sentence needs to be carried out since he was given the death penalty. And I'm a Christian, but I feel like that you have to be punished when you do wrong.
Yeah. So that's justice for you.
Right. Yeah. It won't be a happy day for me. I mean, not for anybody to be killed. I think there'll be some relief knowing that he can't escape again. And we were talking with someone yesterday, and they said, if they could just build a prison that was escape-proof, then it might be okay to do away with the death penalty. But he's already proven he can get out. Mm-hmm. And he had already told someone he could not do life in prison without parole. So, and then he left 18 days later, so.
Then it wasn't just on that day in 1999, it wasn't just your husband, Cecile, that was murdered. You also had another man in Missouri, correct? He stole the pickup.
Well, he came in here and he just pretty much took whatever he felt like taking. I was going to church, and he poured out all the drawers out of all the chests and everything, and he took every gun. He opened the gun cabinet and took all the guns out of the gun cabinet. He took my husband's college ring. He took his Masonic ring, our clothes. He even took some of my tennis shoes, because he wasn't near as big a man as Cecile was. And he took some of Cecile's clothes, but they would have been awfully big on him. But he did have I think some kind of jumpsuit type thing that camouflaged that zips up the front of Cecile's on when they finally caught him. So he took just whatever he wanted that was in our house. I'd just like to know how long he was here, because when I left, my husband was out way in the back working in his garden, and Kenneth Williams told the police that he was walking up to my house when he heard me walk out the door and start my car. So he hid until I left, or he would have killed me first. And then we had a neighbor that came by bringing me something before or after church, and she saw that my vehicle was gone and my husband's truck was gone, and she just turned around and left. But if Cecile's truck had been here, she would have come in and been killed. So it was an unfortunate day, but, you know, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, this may not be true, but I understood he even used Cecile's cell phone to call some of the jurors that had been on the jury to threaten them. The ones that had been on the prior, you know, when Nikki was killed. And anyway, I think they called the prison and stuff. So in my mind, they could have probably, well, I don't know how quick they could have actually acted, but anyway, it could have possibly been stopped. But they said, no, there's no one out at the prison. And when the police got here, they were going on the assumption someone had driven off of the highway over here and done all that. And so, because I even had my little grandson with me. But I had left, when I got back from church, we had a carport at that time. I've now got alarm systems. I've got, you know, the garage so I can drive in and shut the door and keep my doors locked. And I'm just a fanatic. I'm kidding, my kids call it a fortress here. But when I came in the door, I left him out there because he was asleep. I was going to come in and change shoes because I had heels on. I've got some steps. I didn't want to drop him. And when I got to the door, there's a glass door, and we kept the key on this side of the door so we could lock it, you know. And the key had been taken out, put it on the other side of the door, locked, and then broken off in the door. But I finally got it open, and I came in, and I walked directly to the phone. We had a landline at that time. And Cecile had a little office down at Dumas. We were both retired. But he had a little office. He worked like half a day down there sometime. And I started calling him because he didn't normally ever go anywhere without telling me. And I called his cell phone. I called that office phone. And while I was on the phone, I was just looking around, and all those doors were open. And I had a computer armor over here, all open. Kitchen doors, all open. And I was not thinking anything, but just what in the world was Cecile doing? You know, I just couldn't imagine him looking for something and leave all the doors open. And so I quit calling for a minute, thought I'll run change shoes and then I'll call him. And I went in to get some shoes on, other shoes on. And when I got to my bedroom door, I hadn't even looked over there. That room you came in, that used to be my husband's hunting bathroom, is what we called it, because he had his deer heads in there and his hunting clothes and all that. And I had to make that a room so people could get in after I closed off the other. But I got to the door, and every dresser drawer was tumbled upside down. I walked around the bed and to the gun cabinet. It was empty. So I called the sheriff's office and said, we have been robbed. Called my neighbor that lived around, because she was my first cousin's wife, that lived around this gravel road, and she came over. She's the one that had come by here that morning. And so she got here, and she said, let's go outside. Don't go back in the house. Let's stay outside. And don't go in the outbuildings. I was just thinking at that point, maybe somebody had come over and robbed us, and Cecile was chasing them, or I never thought anything about death. And so we're walking around outside, back from the back of the garden, back up this way. And I said, I'm going to run call and see, because it took them 45 minutes to get anybody here. And so I was on the phone calling the sheriff's office again, and I heard her scream. And he had drug his body down by that bayou where it kind of goes like that to make it harder for us to find him, I guess. Because he shot him as he came in, started in that door in the chest right here. And he ran and got to that grass right there, out there, and fell. I don't know if he was shooting him all the way or if he shot him. Emptied the gun, 6 bullets in his back. But he was on the grass, and then he drug him down there. I never saw drag marks. I wasn't looking for it. Blood on the grass, they saw it, but I mean, I never saw it. He left it where, other than the mess in the house, that you wouldn't have seen it outside. But as I said, it was a horrific day, and my girls they didn't say that it was they had a hard time coming here for a while. Mm-hmm. And I know my older daughter testified.
All right, folks, that's we're going to stop it right there. We're going to get up with the second part of the interview when we come back, but we have to take a break right now. So you're listening to the Paul Harrell program. Don't go anywhere. Back in just a moment.
iTex is your first choice for cost-effective IT services. Protecting your business means protecting your data. Are you tired of unpredictable and expensive spikes in IT spending? Using iTex will prevent downtime and loss of employee productivity, and do it all within an affordable, predictable budget. iTex is the premier managed service provider for small and medium businesses. They help their clients put IT